All right, here we are, scenario 6. We're just about done, and as I promised, this one is easier than all of the rest. So let's go ahead and have a look at, this is a perfect time for this scenario because we're in tax season right now. We're all about to file our taxes. What do we have, like till April or something if we're a personal person? The businesses, I think, can get an extension. But we are going to explore how to file our taxes. A lot of us don't know how this works. I did not know how this works until I started teaching this course. So I've learned so much in quantitative literacy in the past 2.5 years that I've been teaching this course. So here we're going to follow a link to take us to find out about our federal taxes and our state taxes. So I hadn't actually prepared this link yet. So looking at the link for our state taxes and our federal taxes, we are then going to do some experiments. We're going to look at, if I file head of household, I make 50 grand a year, and what if I get a raise to 52 grand? Well, if I'm filing head of household and I got a $2,000 raise, something happens. Might blow your mind exactly what happens, but we're gonna look at that. But then we're also gonna look at, if I make 50 grand and I get a $2,000 raise, what if I file single or married, filing jointly? There are different ways I can file my taxes to get different outcomes. So we're going to explore some of that. So let's go ahead and go to this web link here. I'm just going to put this one in. All right, back to here. These are our Arkansas state tax brackets. So we have brackets that shows us for, sorry, just 1 second here. Okay, I had accidentally just got the same link twice. So this is the state tax brackets. And you guys can see if you're single, a single tax bracket, married, filing jointly tax bracket, you have, that was it for this one. So in Arkansas, it's 6.9% for $35,000 or more. So the 6.9% is the amount of tax you pay, whether you make 35 grand a year or if you make 400 grand a year, you still pay 6.9% taxes. So you guys are going to kind of talk about that a little bit too in your 5-sentence summary. Now for our federal tax brackets, this is where I thought I was a second ago. Our federal tax brackets, we have our single filers, married filing jointly, married filing separately, and head of household. We're going to start our report by looking at head of household. Now, remember we said that we had a $50,000 income. That's how much we made each year. And then we're getting a raise. It says down here that we are going to suppose that we got a $2,000 raise. So now we're making $52,000 annually. So what I've done is, for a treat for you guys, I actually posted all of these charts in here. You should be able to just copy and paste these charts directly into your Excel sheet. So I've actually already done this. So let's have a look. I don't want to do everything with you guys on this report. As I said before, I want you guys to, try more of this on your own. So here, I just went ahead and put everything in. Please don't copy off mine. Please go to the website and actually look at this stuff. But you guys are going to look at these brackets. So here I have head of household. If I am filing head of household and I make $50,000 a year, I am in the 12% tax bracket. So that means for my federal income taxes, I pay a base pay of $1,360 and then 12% of everything over that amount, okay? So let's see what that looks like in our chart. So I have created a chart here. You guys can see my little chart. I just copied and pasted that chart that I have in the document for this. And here I have my pay, $50,000. Then the percentage deducted is 12%. That was the federal amount, plus the 6.9% from the state taxes. Notice my percentages are put in as decimal values. So you remember you just move the decimal 2 places to the right when you take the percent off. So I have 12% plus my 6.9%. If you don't remember where that came from, 50 grand was right in here between these amounts, and a 12% federal. And then for my state tax, it was 6.9%. So I added those two amounts together, and that is how we came up with 19% of my income is deducted. All right, now how much taxes do we pay? Well, we had that base pay of $1,360, remember? $1,360 plus, well, this right here, Foxtrot 18. For me, that's Foxtrot 18. And you guys can't see it because it's covered up like that. But that's 19% of Echo 18, which is $50,000. So that's $1,360 plus 19% of $50. That's the math we're doing here. Let's just look at that again. $1,360 plus 19% of 50 grand. All right, that's what that is. And then the leftover amount is my Echo 18 right here, the $50,000 minus what was deducted. So this is what I have left over after I pay my taxes. So let's go back to our taxes and see what happens when I am making $52,000 a year. Well, when I get a $2,000 a year raise, I move 10% up on my tax bracket. So my $2,000 raise moved me up 10%. Now I have to pay $5,944 base pay and 22% of my taxes. Plus, I still have over here that 6.9%. So back to my Excel. You can see I gave myself a raise, and now my deduction is my 22% plus the state tax of 6.9%. And then here I have my base $5,944 I have to pay to my taxes, plus the percentage times the 52,000. So that's plus 29% of 52,000. And then of course right here I have my base pay of 52,000 minus the taxes that I paid. Use your pivots, you guys. And don't forget, when you're talking about this in your Excel report, you should be clicking on these just to show me your formulas, which could show up right up at the top here. You don't have to double click or anything. You can just click and it will show me the formulas that you used up in that formula bar. All right, now here's the mind-blowing part. So we can look at that on the numbers. It's apparent on the numbers, but it's more fun to look at on the charts. Well, and don't forget, just because I don't have my charts labeled, I'm not going through that on every one. I'm going to be looking at every single chart. The grading is going to be a lot more meticulous the second time around because I'm looking for things you've done on your own. All right, so here, look, my leftover amount, the orange is my new pay. The blue is my old pay. Look, how much less money is left over now that I got a raise. I paid more taxes, I got more pay, but I get to keep less of it. So that's because I filed head of household. When you guys look at that chart on the web page, you can see that if we take that exact same scenario and we file single, we don't get that. If we file single, we actually have a different situation happen here. We get to keep more. We have more money left over. We pay more taxes still. We get more pay still, but we actually have more left over filing single. And then that happens to us again if we file married and jointly. I didn't look at filing married but single, but you guys can look at any of these that you want to, experiment and play with those and figure out how you might want to make some changes in how you pay your taxes. And, you know, what if you were offered a raise? Maybe you might say, well, it's only worth it to me if you give me a $4,000 raise. It would only be worth it. If you're not going to give me a $4,000 raise, then we'll just save my raise and wait until I, get a different raise. If you have to file head of household, or you can make some decisions about this. Now, another thing that we're going to talk about, let's go back to our document real quick. We are going to calculate the percentage of taxes for federal and state, create a chart to show your pay. We just showed how we're going to do that. Suppose you've been awarded a raise. We did that. Add the new pay to your chart, create a bar chart. We did all of this. Repeat the process with the same pay as a single and filing jointly. All right, so another thing that I want you guys to look at on these charts is this. Make a comment about this. If you get a $2,000 raise, let's just look at the difference between this. I go from $13,000 to $50,000. So what is that about? It's about looks like maybe about a $37,000, maybe $38,000 raise. So if I started at the bottom of the 12% bracket and moved up to the 22% bracket, I pay 10% more taxes. On a $30,000 raise, I pay 10% more taxes, and my base amount goes up over here. So now what happens if I go from $200,000 to $500,000, I've gotten a $300,000 raise. Back over here, what did I say I had? About a less than $40,000 raise. Down here, I get a $300,000 raise, but my tax bracket only changes by 2%. My base pay does go up $100,000, but I'm interested to know what some of these ratios look like. How does this look to you? What do you think about it? I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. Another thing that I thought we were going to talk about what would happen if I see. This is just what we have to do. Good. Let's go down to the conversation that we're going to have. That's what I want to look at. All right, discuss why getting a raise is not always worth it. Explain how you can decide if getting a raise is worth it to you. Describe the tax differences in filing head of household, single, married, or filing jointly. Discuss the ratios between income increase and percent of tax increase. So that's what I was just talking about. You guys are going to actually look at some of those ratios and see what it means. How much more money are people paying in taxes that make a lot more money? If you make $50,000, how much are you paying in tax relative to if you make $500,000? And then we're going to explain what we might do differently if we were in charge of income taxes and the taxes paid ratios. I lived over in Europe for 5 years, and in Germany, they paid, this was 12 years ago when I lived there. I don't know how things are now, but they paid 50% of their income to their taxes. And those taxes went toward all kinds of things. They have the universal health care. You have to think that Germany is the size of one of our states. So it's a small country, and it has, less people that it has to try to make a change for. But they do a lot of things for their citizens. They have universal health care. When you have a child, you have all kinds of options. Both parents can take off work and stay home. As far as I remember, a mother could stay home for like 3 years, a father for 2 years. So there were a lot of different things that the country does to take care of their citizens. The crime rate I looked it up the other day because I was going to do a scenario on that, but I'll save it for another time. But the crime rate in America per capita, per amount of people, is more than quadruple what it is in Germany. The health issues are more than quadruple. Everything was outrageous. So sometimes we might complain about paying taxes, but really, where do those taxes go and what are they doing? I personally would like to see more taxes go toward education and toward getting our nutrition and our health care in balance so that we can, save that chunk of money in our federal taxes. All right, guys, I think we've finished up Excel report for Module 2. Congratulations. I will be looking forward to seeing you on the next assignment, which I think is probably your homework. and then the financial report. So until then, keep being amazing. You rock. We rock. We're rocking it. Bye, guys.